Hello and welcome and thanks for watching. In this video I will go over my trading bot and the basic functionality of it. It's currently in what I call version 0.9.20, so it's not final, so there are some things that I want to change before the final release, make it a little bit more user-friendly and so on. But yeah, in this video I will explain you the bot, and I will also show you my current favorite strategy, which is based on a neural network, transformer neural network in this case. It's something kind of like ChatGPT uses. Um, but yeah, it's just my current favorite. So let's begin. Um, Kind of the first basic part is, yeah, like which pairs can we trade, which exchanges. So depending on the exchange, so basically every exchange that is supported, for example, Binance, um, we will have all of the pairs available. Currently, I have Binance enabled here. That's why I have like 222 pages of pairs. So that's just Binance pairs. If I would enable here one of the other, around 100, yeah, like 120-ish exchanges are currently supported. Some of them I haven't tested and verified, so we are using yeah, like some stuff under the hood, some open source stuff under the hood, which supports yeah lots of exchanges, but some of them could have potentially some issues here and there. But if you find some issues, just let me know, and usually it's quite easy to fix them. So yeah, we can enable multiple exchanges, trade with them at the same time, multiple pairs. That's kind of like the part for the pairs. And of course, we support all of the timeframes that the exchange is supporting. So that's this part. And the next part I want to go into is strategies. So there are like lots of different strategies here available, and lots of that will follow in the future. Um, the strategies range from, for example, this one. It's like a neural net, deep neural net strategy, which is trained specifically on like a certain type. And uses like a lot of indicators. So for example, we can use like a neural net, but we can also, for example, Lorentzian classification. It's quite a famous one from TradingView. It's just like kind of like a clone of it. It's also available for here. It's not like this neural net strategy. It's kind of like a more stupid machine learning technique used here, but it works also quite well. Um, so different types of strategies. For example, we have arbitrage trading. We have another mode which is arbitrage pro or arbitrage strategy maker. So what this allows us, for example, is define rules for arbitrage um, kind of strategies. So it will scan the market like a lot of times per second for arbitrage opportunities, and you can use, for example, a neural net on top of the arbitrage scan. So you will only, for example, you could, this is trained to kind of like get sniper entries, but you could train it to get kind of like a good a trend of it and combine it with like a regular arbitrage. So you train the network kind of like specifically on like the arbitrage case, and instead of like getting just a few snipers as we have here, it will kind of like give you the signals that are better for arbitrage. So that's kind of like the arbitrage. So just to give you an idea, like so we have just neural net strategies, arbitrage. For here, for example, it's kind of like just simple grid based. So you can have like order grids to ping pong between ranges. So there are quite a lot of different types. Or just where do we have it? It's trading view signals trading. That would be another option. You connect, you have like your favorite strategy running on TradingView, and you just send the signals to Octobot, and here you decide like where to put the stop loss, how much to enter, the trailing stop, and take profits, and all of that fancy stuff can be done with that. So you kind of like don't use the signal creation in that case, you just use an external signal. There are other ways to use external signals as well, like Telegram, and yeah, there are multiple ways to do that. Um, yeah, that's the part with the strategies. So you can have lots of different strategies, and strategies can be either clicked together with, I will go into that later, with strategy modes, which is basically a developer builds a mode which allows you like tons of settings, but for arbitrage it's only specifically for arbitrage. For grid it's specifically for grid. For trading view signals it's specific for this case, so no signal settings, more like take profit and all of that stuff. So depending on what the developer choose for his mode, there users can create like quite a lot of variants of different strategies. So just by changing some settings of my neural net strategy, for example, tweaking it a little bit, maybe training it a little bit, yeah, it's basically a new strategy. And as you can see here, this one is not published yet, so I could just click here, sell a strategy, type in some information, the price, publish now, and bam, it's ready to be sold, or shared for free. So if I want to share it it's currently available paid to my group members, but will be very soon available to the public as well through the interface. So I just need to click the sell button here and it will be available, but not yet. So that's that. So yeah, we can make lots of different types of strategies. And the nicest thing about it, we can every strategy behaves the same way in real trading. So we connect the API keys and actually take the trade on the exchange. But we can also backtest it. So we simulate it kind of candle by candle based on past data. So we can just go here in backtesting, click start backtest, and it will just start our backtest, and we just need to wait until it's finished. And we can, so backtest would be in this case just like a single run, and I get a result like here, 100, whatever, 47,000% for this example. That's that part. But I can also run it with the optimizer. In the optimizer, I can, so now our backtest is finished. In the optimizer, I can run multiple backtests at the same time. So, for example, here in our strategy, we can change settings for the neural net, some training settings, and so on. Like that's what users can change. And in the optimizer, we can here we can try different settings. For example, we can just try like the stop loss percentage, um, different types of stop losses, or optimize our neural net settings in this case. So can change settings and run. So that's what I usually do, is like I kind of like build a strategy, make some good settings for a base, and then I go into the optimizer, click some settings together, and then I run like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 backtests to kind of get the final idea of, so now I only have 3 here, but when I run the optimizer, yeah, I have like tens of thousands of results here, which I will then compare. For example, we can check out the last one here. As we can see, the portfolio looks a bit weird because it grows so hard, so we need to change it to log scale so we can see something. Oh, there we go. So as we can see, we started with 10K and ended up with 10 million-ish in this case. So you also have, so when you run a backtest, you can compare them. So we can, for example, select multiple ones, but I don't want to, just want to one. And so, and yeah, we can see the portfolio, how it grew. And what we can also do is go deeper and the same features, so portfolio value and all of those. So as what we can see here, the same is available for live and for backtest. So now I have a backtest, but for live it looks basically the same. So we see here the dots. Let's hide this one. The dot is our signal, and on the next candle we place here our order. Um, we're seeing the, or basically on the open we buy here, and then the yellow dots are our stop loss and the pink dots are our take profit. So in this case, bam, we hit our take profit, and yeah, that way we can analyze our results. So as we can see, our signals look pretty nice. So bottom, 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 bottom. So it kind of like, yeah, takes only bottoms as it seems. The win rate, what was the win rate? Yeah, like 83%. So pretty high in this case. And that's that. So we can simulate live or backtest or optimize or mass backtests. And we can also train, in this case, like a neural net with use of GPUs, for example. Yeah, that's this part. Um, mm, mm. So yeah, we have our strategy modes. So we have strategies which are like kind of ready to go strategies. You download them, select them, and you run them, and it will just start to trade. And then you have strategy modes, which I talked earlier about. Is um, sorry. um, Yeah, the strategy mode. So developers can make strategy modes. So for example, one strategy mode is the strategy maker mode. In this mode, you have basically the most freedom of choice. You can, in this case, choose the evaluator neural net classification, but there are some others uh, which is, so this part I want to improve. But yeah, you have evaluators. For example, is crossing, you can use two data sources, let's say the price and like a EMA. If the price crosses up the EMA, you get a signal. Would be like the crossing, for example, or is above, like if the price is above the EMA, you get a signal, and you can combine multiple of those evaluators. In our case, we are only using one evaluator, and in this case, it's the neural net. But the neural net has some settings we can use. We have the model input features. We use 8, so 8 indicators is what we use. So here we can, the indicators are also available in some other places. So lots of familiar stuff is already there. I think it's 55 indicators currently and growing, and the most popular ones are already available. So in this case, I plugged basically RSI, CCI, Arun, MACD, RSI again with a different length, ADMR, balance of power, growth rate. So I basically gave all of those indicators to the neural net. And yeah, so and the neural net basically gets the indicators and training data or labels, so we kind of tell it what is a win, what is a loss. So here in the training settings, so in this case, I trained it to aim for a risk reward 1 to 10. So we have a 1% stop loss that we kind of like aim for as a maximum. And our take profit is kind of like a static 10% in this case. There are like lots of different ways to do it. In my case, the entry is just a single market in, but I can also enter by like a grid or yeah, a grid like I don't know, place 50 orders, and that would be something, for example. Also, different take profits. We could use a indicator for the take profit, or don't use a take profit and instead just use a trailing stop loss. So currently, trailing stop is disabled. But with the trailing stop loss, we can use indicators. We can use basically any of the 50 indicators as a stop loss. But in my case, or in this strategy, so there are other strategies that use trailing stops and stuff like that. But in this strategy, is rather simple. So single market in plus just a 1% base stop loss and 10% take profit, and the position size in this case, we just use 50% what is available, and we could also do some risk management to prevent losing streaks and like different drawdowns for different trades. But in our case, everything is kind of static, so this is a good choice for me here, but the options are kind of like endless. So alone with 50 indicators and trailing stop losses based on those 50 indicators, and you can also use just take profits based on indicators. You have already quite a lot of options to define the exit of your strategy. You can also have multiple strategies. Currently, I only have one in my strategy maker, and yeah, this one is just rather simple. And what did I wanted to say? So yeah, uh, so this is this one. In another video, I will go up about the other modes, over the other modes. For example, the arbitrage strategy maker. It's quite similar than this one. Uses also all of those conditions plus some arbitrage specific stuff. Um, and what do we have? So the next part, which is, so we have our strategies, different modes, which give you different settings, like the strategy maker mode, which give you a lot of settings, so you can build quite sophisticated stuff with it, so without a line of code. So that's one way. But yeah, you can also, if you're a little bit into coding, then you can also just create your own mode that does exactly what you want. Um, Yeah, so that's that part. I already start a little bit talking about analysis of trading data, so either live simulated or actual real or backtested data, so real and so on. So you can see you have a pretty good visual kind of like what the thing is doing. You can switch between pairs. I don't have any other enabled currently, but you kind of see quite good what happened and what the orders what the orders did, and that's kind of like a framework which allows for different types of things. So in this case, we plot orders and trades and so on. And there's like another case where in this case we plot our portfolio, which is growing insane. Um, and there are lots of other things that will come also. For example, so this is our unrealized portfolio. It updates only once a day. That's why it's having Actually, that's actually pretty fine. So this is our historical portfolio. So that's actually our balance, like what we have currently. And there are ways to display different. Realized portfolio would be kind of like you only display when you actually close trades. Um, but yeah, what I want to say is there are lots of ways that will follow in the future that will be added on top to give you the like options to analyze your past data. So you can connect any API keys and will be able to analyze your past trading data, get more insights and so on. So it's currently kind of in early stages. It works quite good already, but there are like lots of things that I want to do in the future there, including like analysis based on like yeah, AI stuff. So that would be quite nice. And yeah, one thing to the neural net strategy, it's also quite extendable. So currently there are like two, four, six different types of neural nets, and it's quite easy if you know about this stuff to create a new one. Hard part is then yeah like using GPU power to train it actually. Um, but yeah, lots of options for machine learning, and it can be combined with traditional stuff. So here I only like do machine learning or deep neural net stuff without anything else, but I could also combine it with like traditional indicators to kind of yeah build in some safeguards or something like that. So I guess that's kind of it for the first kind of like introduction in it. I will make more videos about specific strategies and maybe videos how you can create your own. Um, yeah, just one more thing, you can download the software already. Some of the things I showed you here are not included in the free version, so um, but you can just kind of like download it from here. So if you haven't installed something, you can kind of download it on your instance. And then the link to download the whole software will be in the description. So yeah, that's I guess it for today. See